By the way, Michael Lunsford will join me at 10:30. Citizens for a New Louisiana. He's got a great piece on the Hayride about what I'm talking about all this money going to NGOs and projects that have nothing to do with the state of Louisiana. And nobody wants to address that. Let's go to the phone lines. Mr. Paul out of Bossier. Paul, how you doing?
Well, you mentioned that Citizens for a New Louisiana, great website, by the way. I highly recommend it for fiscal conservatives out here that are fighting the fight. Real quick on this is justified. This is what happened to Dodie Horton in Bossier. One of the hardcore conservatives, one of the good ones. And what do we have? She got primaried because she couldn't bring home the bacon under John Bell Edwards because he was cutting all of her funding. Well, this is the stuff. This is the money that they use in Baton Rouge to make legislators vote the right way, or they use it to blackmail them. If they don't vote the right way, they run against you, telling the people back home that you can't bring home the bacon.
Yep.
So it works against the citizens every direction you're coming from. So this is what this does, and this is the purpose of this slush fund, of these millions of dollars. But I'm just looking at the list. I just want to read a couple of them.
Now, what list is that? What is this list from? Oh, you're talking about from New Louisiana. Okay.
Yeah. The one you're going to talk about. I'm just asking about it. Teach for America, $250,000. Wynn Foundation of Louisiana to clean up Bayou at Cherokee Park, $250,000. Musada Foundation. I have no clue. I had to go look all this up. I will just to see who they are. And you were talking about all the COVID money that's being spread around. Shreveport had so much left over. They were trying to figure out how to spend it, and Keel did an article on that. And they giving money to NGOs that pushing DEI and social justice stuff, pushing a bunch of left-wing stuff. They fund all that junk through giving money to the YWCA, who funds these other groups. So this money doesn't just end up in the hands of this group. It may go through this group to another group.
Yeah, I wonder how much money went back to Kamala Harris' campaign and Democrats.
Oh, a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole gimmick. I mean, there's story after story right now about NGOs on the national level with all this funding for the illegals that are coming into the country. And it's just like that case up in Ohio where you find out the mayor owns all the rental property, and they're literally kicking out U.S. citizens out of the home because there's so much money in housing illegal aliens or the Haitians coming in that they're kicking people out of the house so the homeowners or the property owners can rent it out to the government. It's the most insane stuff we see, but it all works this way. This is how this government of ours works, including Louisiana. And when you talk to that Citizens for New Louisiana at the bottom of the hour, just look at some of the stuff they spend. I know he's going to
mention it. He's going to talk about it. Yeah.
But it's insane what we're doing with government. And for them to even talk about raising taxes,
we
didn't go back to the pre-COVID budget. We're at the COVID budget. They baseline the COVID budget like it was what we're supposed to be spending from now on. And that's insane.
That's what they did at the federal level. That's what they did at the state level. That's where we at. That's why we got problems. Ain't got a dang thing to do with not having enough money. But the media is never going to bring it up. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Matthew James, Business Tax Reduction Hotline. We're joined by Paul Hurd. Paul, it's kind of disheartening with this. They're not going around and asking people if they can pay their vehicle insurance. They're not going around asking people they can pay for food. They're not going around and asking people, hey, with the property tax increase, you gonna be able to handle that? They're not going around doing interviews on people where inflation is kicking our ever-living butt in the middle class. And the thing I was going to tell you before you say something was that, and I've always learned this, and I learned this from a friend of yours and mine a long time, meets in the middle. So when you got tax increases of any kind, it's going to the middle class. Now, you may not go directly, but it's coming to the middle class.
Oh, look, that's true. With Michael Lunsford and his group of Citizens for New Louisiana, are a great organization. And look, we need our voters. We need our working families. You guys are going to have to join up with some of these fighters, and Michael's one of them, and help him stay alive, help him be alive, and an advocate. I've got my own organization, but what's really funny, I had to call in. My oldest son played AAU basketball over 15 years ago, and one of the teams he played against coming out of Baton Rouge was the Louisiana Leadership Institute that had their nice fancy travel bus, their nice 2 or 3 different uniforms, new tennis shoes, and they got $1.5 million this year.
That's Cleo. That's Cleo.
That's Cleo's basketball team is what that was. And so, look, can Louisiana afford to do without it? If we look at all of the funding to the NGOs, the non-governmental entities, all of those entities are political, unaccountable entities that are at most 25% service, 75% politics. We can afford the cuts easy. We just need to stand up and tell them we're going to make the budget number right. We're going to cut revenue. Now you guys go prioritize, and I'll bet you the basketball team has to pay for itself.
Well,
I appreciate it, Moon.
Okay. All right, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's nope. I'm telling y'all, it's my gut feeling. That's all. That we getting ready to have to fork out more money. And but where's the results for the private sector? Where's the results for the business community? How can we keep our young people here, so older people, when they get older, and they gonna go with the kids and grandbabies? So I'm tired of hearing stories about this. Hi, y'all. Welcome, Moon Griffon Show. Man, they're a lot cleaner too. Clear. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. You know, I've been talking a lot about tax reform and wondering if we're really going to get anything that looks like real tax reform for the people in the business community. I'm all for government, folks. I have no problem with government. Never have. I got a problem with big government, how much money they're taking. And we're joined by Michael Lunsford, of course, Citizens for a New Louisiana. Michael, how you doing?
Doing good, man. How y'all, man?
I'm doing good, except I broke my headset when I was walking out. I'm kind of mad at myself, but I'm just going to take it out of Walker's pay. I'm good to go with that. I bought a set that I thought was really nice, and then I always buy a backup set. It'll do me till I get another nice set. And so I got a second set I got, I think it's nicer than the first set. It sounds so much cleaner and clearer. So anyway, all right, Mike, the article you wrote, Louisiana Hidden Culture War Ending a Century of Wasteful Spending. And, you know, I don't see anybody working on the spending side, and that bothers me. And when I came across your article, we've been friends for a long time, but I came across the article, and I thought, man, this is pretty good in the fact that you're pointing out how this has been going on forever. And by the way, when I looked at the news media, that's not going to change. It's about we need more money, and that's it. Never about the spending part of the ledger. So your thoughts on the article, what you were trying to say, and talk to us about it.
Well, so the big thing that we've had a challenge with, it was actually the end of the Shakedown Scheck-Snyder reign of terror, the previous Speaker of the House. They burned $500 million on their way out the door in a single supplemental appropriations bill. You remember that? They bust the cap. They did all the stupid things that no one wanted them to do. But, you know, they're in charge, so they can do that. And they sent all kinds of money. Every Democrat got $1 million all the way down the line. So,
by the way, not to correct you, but to add, blank page Cortez and Governor Bel Edwards were a big part of that, too.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Mm-hmm. But just remember, all of this spending has to originate on the House side. So Scheck-Snyder was in charge of that. Of course, they waited till the second to last day to get all of this rammed through at the last minute. No one has time to read it. Look, the supplemental appropriation for 2024 was, 93 pages or something like that?
Yep.
So imagine, and it was $100 million, imagine multiplying that by 5. Who in the world has time to read that in less than 48 hours? So at any rate, I was offended. Everybody was offended. So now we're starting to look at these supplemental appropriations bills to say, okay, what's so important? You know, and what happens is supplemental appropriations is halfway through session, they realize, we have extra money. We have to hurry up and spend it before time runs out. So they create a new bill, supplemental, to blow out all the money they've got left over instead of putting it in the savings account, instead of lowering taxes. There's always this supplemental spending. And I say always, you know, there's times when things are rough and we don't have it. But lately we've been hearing fiscal cliff, fiscal cliff, fiscal cliff. last year it was over, 1.6 or 1.8 billion. They bust the cap.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, they didn't bust the cap, but, I mean, there's an extra $100 million in spending. And then, of course, Tony Bacala found out that they had $100 million in advertising. In addition to that, $250 million in extra spending in Department of Health. He's saying, we're just not going to give you that extra money. And, of course, you know how these people are. Oh, you're not giving us an extra $250 million more than last year. That's a cut. Well, it's not a cut. You're just not getting more. But the language is what they use, and the press eats it up. And I really believe this. I believe the left-leaning legacy media in this state wants to bankrupt our country and bankrupt our state because it's always about we're going to lose critical services if we don't spend more money. And it's like $100 million in advertising is not a critical service.
No.
And they just, they're not putting this information. Anyway, so we found a bunch of stuff in here, and you probably have the article in front of you.
I do.
But, $1 million for this project and that project.
No, name.
Cleaning out of.
Yeah, name some of the projects, Mike. I mean, it's a shame that it's going to this, but that's when you, listen, I knew when Sheikh Snyder and Cortez got in, and then we had all that money coming from federal money and a 0.45 cent that we didn't need. They were going to just blow this money. You knew it. I knew it. Everybody knew it. We watched it happen in front of our face. And that's why you don't let people like that ever be getting power. I knew Blank Page would be weak, and he was. And I knew that Sheikh Snyder was a total joke. It was almost, that's why he had to walk across and get the leftist Democrats to vote him in. And with a few Republicans like Cocktail Coos on him to help him. And that's why I told people that they caused this problem. They act like they made one bad vote. They caused the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. They did. Just the speaker, choosing a speaker changes everything. It changes the whole trajectory of the state, spending everything. But anyway, let's. I don't know how much time you got for me, so let me.
No,
jump
you got plenty of time. Go ahead. I got till 11 o'clock.
Okay. So I'm flipping over here to the NGO section. That's non-governmental organizations, mostly nonprofits. And so the first thing on my list was $2.5 million for the Lakeshore Indian Booster Club.
How much?
Okay.
How much?
$2.5 million.
And we got a budget problem, but what's the name of the group again?
Lakeshore Indians Booster Club.
Oh, my God.
And so...
Gee
what are we doing with this? So the other thing, and you're going to love this one, Moon, and I know you've seen it in the article. It's probably why you called me. $1.5 million for Cleo Fields' nonprofit organization, Louisiana Leadership Institute.
Yeah, that's the guy that we gave a district to. We've given a congressional district to. Yeah, I know you're talking about. But once again, we got to hear the newspapers like the Devil's Advocate, and you hear Rick Gallo and them crying, we got no money, we got to cut. Look at all the stuff that's out there. You mentioned $500 million. That's probably just a touch. Your boy Bacala brought up another $343 million. $500 million, 343. You know, that's real money.
It is, yeah. Now, in the hearing with Bacala, the people from Department of Health says, well, it didn't cost you nothing. It's just pass-through money from the federal government. And it's like, so? Why are we spending $100 million advertising for the COVID vaccine? Dude, COVID's over. We don't need to be spending this money anymore.
By the way,
that was Bacala's point.
You got one in here, $500,000 to Math Nation, an organization that's not even based in Louisiana. $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
How about the art gallery in Baton Rouge? $500,000. They can't see. They're telling me people can't make it on their own, and so they come to government, and government says, "Sure, I'll give you something."
Yeah. Well, you forgot the $1 million for Cyberspace Innovation Center to replace a generator. Incorporated, by the way, Cyberspace Innovation Center Incorporated. So it's not even a nonprofit, I don't think. It's probably a for-profit organization, and they're just giving them, here's $1 million.
Yeah. Well, they did that when Cortez and what's his name, the Speaker of the House, Sheikh Snyder, they did all this. We told them not to do it, but they literally bought every minority vote with $1 million. That's a fact. Everybody knows this happened, but they're going to come back to you and me. We ain't got no money. Well, when will the part of the government will start saying, you know what, we need to help the people that are trying to save money so we can have enough money?
Well, the numbers we're talking about here aren't Schexnayder numbers. These are current numbers. These came through the appropriation process in 2024. So this is like today, right now.
So this is our Republican-led House, Senate, and governor.
It's right now. Yeah, it's the 2024 regular session. It's the one that just ended. So these are current numbers. This isn't, we have another article coming on Schexnayder spending. Mm-hmm. And this one, you're going to love this one. We actually pulled the addresses for the organizations that we're giving as examples, and we're going to plot them out on a map and tell you whose district they're in.
No, I love that because then we find out exactly what happened. But the Schexnayder, Edwards, and Blank Page Cortez experiment was a failure. And you know it as well as I do it, because every 4 years and 8 years when you do this, like Bill Edwards was governor for 8 years, he destroyed us. He hurt us bad. So we expect when the new people come in, we need to start cleaning up this stuff. It's not too late, by the way, but they got to start cleaning up some of this stuff, Mike.
Well, they do, and we have some other projects in here. These are these wouldn't offend people as much as the nonprofits and the for-profit businesses that they're giving money away to, but Central Community School System over there in Baton Rouge, Greenville Springs Park, for an arena cover and improvements, $1 million, for a park.
Yeah.
And so we're saying we have a fiscal cliff. We have to stop. We're not going to be able to provide necessary services if we cut. Well, did we need to? We got to build parks.
Yeah.
Is that a necessary service? We have industrial park.
Hey, let me take a break. I'm right up on the break.
Right.
Hold your thought, Michael Lunsford. We'll take a break and be back. One more segment to go. Yeah, folks, all this money is crying in the newspapers. I don't buy it. We just give money away. George Strait got a song. Just give it away. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Last segment of this second hour. Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. On the hotline, Michael Lunsford joins us. And, of course, Michael's a citizen for a new Louisiana. I was thinking at the break, we're just talking about this year and last year. But I think you've done the history. We've been doing this 50, 100 years. And think about where we are in terms comparable to other states. The southern states have really been the growth, and we didn't participate in it. And we've had budget problems. We run into this every few years. We raise taxes. It's never enough. And then we've been, think about all the money we gave away to non-government organizations. It's got to be in the billions, the tens of billions of dollars over the last 30, 40, 50 years or more.
Well, it's certainly a lot. That $500 million last year, I haven't even cracked it open. I'm afraid to go look in there. It's just so much and so overwhelming. We're going to try, though. We're going to make an effort at it and get some addresses. We have some. So the list we're using for our upcoming article, where we're going to cross-reference district boundaries and figure out where these are coming from, because it's a secret. They don't have to say which legislator requested the money, and that's been part of the game, too, is if we knew who was requesting this money, a lot would change.
Boy, let me tell you something. If you knew that, they wouldn't request it as much. I ain't asking for that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not asking for that because that's crazy. I'm not ban uniforms for $1 million. Y'all out your mind, And then, of course, when the Democrats have their $1 million with their name next to it, we're going to have the Freedom Caucus saying, what in the world are we giving $30 million to Democrats for? So that's the magic. Look, transparency is what our organization is all about. We've always said, if you knew what your government was doing, your government would probably stop doing it. So our mission is to share with you who's getting this money, and you can decide for yourself if you think it's worth $1 million for band uniforms for, representative whoever and wherever, But that's the idea is we're going to put this out. It's going to be a spreadsheet format. Again, we have limited resources. I don't have a big team. It's just, myself and one other guy in Lafayette. I have Jamie part-time in Baton Rouge. if we had the resources to really dig in, I would pull every single line out, and we'd have addresses for everything.
Yeah, the thing about it is, I wish we could find out who asked for the money. That would really show them. But I got to tell you, most of the people don't want that to happen. That would be real transparency in government. My frustration is I don't see the eagerness to change the state of Louisiana into what it needs to be. And if you don't have that eagerness, and I think the people are ready. I think we saw it in the last election. I think people looked up at what Bill Edwards did, and they're going, oh, my God, you've got to be joking. I do. But now the big fear is that, have we done the right thing? I think the lawmakers that are there's a lot of good people there, from the governor all the way through the lawmakers. They have a responsibility to get this part of it right. I think they do. And if they're not going to get it right, because all we're going to worry about is, I'm telling you, there's something in the water down there. Representative and Republican so-and-so goes down there, and he got elected on the most conservative agenda you've ever seen in your life. And they go down there, and all of a sudden, instead of representing people, they're representing the government. And I don't understand that. They're supposed to be representing us.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me either, Matt. You remember our friend John Schroeder, when he was running for treasurer, he used to say, I don't know what the deal is. As soon as you cross the threshold into this building, everybody's IQ drops like 10 points, Yeah,
I tried.
And that just seems to be,
Yeah, I had him. I was at a deal. He was at the deal that Mills put on. And it was a bunch of pastors and people that were involved in the Christian community. And he stood up and told them, he said, look, I know y'all are worried about things that are right and moral and things that are done right. He said, you see that building over there talking about the Capitol? He said, that whole Capitol, that's money. They don't care about God, family, country. That's about money. And he was right when he said it. Yeah. I thought that was a great line because it was true.
It is. So, Moon, we're going to be doing something so different. No one's ever done it before by plotting this spending on the map and finding out whose district they're in. But I think you'll be excited when we put that out. And it's going to show, it's going to name names. We don't know, for example, that this particular representative requested it, but it's in his district. Who else would request it?
Here's going to be the problem. This is the problem you're going to run into, and you shouldn't because you're only putting out factual information. The problem you're going to run into is there'll be somebody in that district that money benefited, and they can justify it real quick. They can. It's amazing how people can justify. We all like this. I ain't putting me any different. We all like this. Throw some money your way. I can justify it real quick, especially if I didn't have to earn the money or work for it.
Yeah. But I think, we've also always said employees tend to work better when they know they're being watched, when their bosses are watching, right? Well, we're the bosses of the government, and we have forever not really paid much attention to them. We're all stuck on entertainment news, such as Fox News, CNN, whatever your preference is. You're watching what's going on in Washington, D.C. No one cares what's going on in Louisiana if it's outside of football. Yeah. And so that's the mission we're trying to change. What we're paying attention to, we keep it short, simple. Here's a quick hit. These are some stupid spending that's going on. The next phase is going to have whose district it's in. And I think once some of these legislators realize that we're going to be naming names, I'm not going to be requesting those band uniforms anymore.
Yeah.
Y'all figure out another way. And that's the goal. And it may work, it may not. But you know what? We've never tried it before, so we're gonna jump in. And if I end up getting shot, you'll know why.
Yeah, well, I just think the truth is what we need. We need a big part of that going around. I just don't. And at the end of the day, there's still people in this state who want to change it. We got almost enough lawmakers to change it in the House and Senate. You notice I said almost?
Yeah.
I'm serious with you because it seems like we always a few votes short on the things we really need.
Mm-hmm.
And
they tick those votes ahead of time, so they know who they can give a pass to walk away and who they got to have.
Yep, and somebody has to vote for
district.
Just say it again.
I say, oh, you're in a conservative district. We're going to give you a pass on this because we have the votes we need. So it's always going to be close.
Yeah. Well,
You know, that's how they do it. It's the game. I've seen it at a parish level, especially. You always see these close votes, especially on these roll forwards. It's usually almost exactly the 2/3 requirement. Now, some of these people are crazy. Like Livingston Parish just increased taxes 33% without a vote of the people. It was unanimous. I don't know what's wrong with these people, but nobody's paying attention, so they do what they want.
yeah. All right, Mike, thank you. Give out your website real quick because I don't have but a few seconds left.
Yeah, newlouisiana.org, and we're on every social you can think of.
All right, got to run. Thanks.